Well, I am a little annoyed with Suns fans this morning. I want to talk about some fake outrage about the Phoenix Suns. Can Bradley Beal's relationship be mended? And not to mention, could one superstar wide receiver be on his way to Arizona? Well, let's talk about it all. I'll talk to you guys in a couple seconds.
The Ben Garcia Show. Yeah. Woo. Best show in the land. Yup. Listen. Come and get your information from Ben Garcia. Get the latest on your quarterback, running backs, and receivers. Tune in, so any other show you don't need them. Any news that he giving out, please just believe him. Giving out the latest prediction and top-notch analysis. Wanna hear the truth, better have thick skin like calluses. The latest move that your team just made can be damaging. The dudes ain't speaking no facts, they just be rambling. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show, go get the cameraman. Yeah. Lights, camera, action, turn on the show, go get the cameraman. The Ben Garcia Show.
What is up, guys? Welcome into yet another edition of the Ben Garcia Show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, potentially, if you want to, tell a friend about the Ben Garcia Show. There's a lot of things to get to today. You know, doing a daily show now on here, what is now the new home of the Ben Garcia Show every morning. I just want to quickly say this, and I will reiterate it today, tomorrow. Circumstances have changed a little bit with the Ben Garcia Show. Instead of going live at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 7 a.m. local time, starting Monday of next week, I decided it actually might be better to get this show rolling at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 a.m. local time. Of course, you can always rewatch the stream on YouTube if you so choose, but if you want to do that as well, I will be going live 6 a.m. local time, 8 a.m. Eastern time, starting next Monday. So that is what that will be like. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the Ben Garcia Show. Guys, yesterday was like a massive day for subscribers here. It's hard. It's just me doing this show and having to each and every day put myself continuously to put myself in a position every morning to do this show on my own, producing it. Like, it's just a one-man band here, but it's been awesome. It's been great. I appreciate the support. All right, without further ado, no one wants to hear me talk about nonsense anymore. Starting next week, next Monday, 6 a.m. local time, 8 a.m. Eastern time is when the Ben Garcia Show will go. We'll go 30, 40 minutes like we do every single morning. All right, that's enough of that nonsense. Also, follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. I'm a little frustrated with Phoenix Suns fans this morning. I don't argue with fans on social media because it's hard to be rational with fans of whatever fan base. Cardinals, Steelers, Cowboys, Lakers, Yankees. Like, fan is obviously short for fanatic, clearly. And we emote, we get emotional, we have what is seen at times harsh opinions of our teams. But I'm not going to be, I'm not going to argue with fans on social media. I love to interact, but it seems like to me it's never in goodwill. There's nothing more I dislike. There's nothing more I dislike about fandom, especially in the Arizona fan base. Talking more specifically with the Phoenix Suns is fake outrage. It was clearly seen amongst Suns fans. This revisionist history drives me crazy. This idea that no one wanted Kevin Durant, no one wanted Bradley Beal when it happened, no one wanted to move on from DeAndre Ayton. Yeah, we're going to revisit that topic today again. It drives me crazy. This idea that you never wanted Kevin Durant here, or you never wanted Bradley Beal here, and it's all Mat Ishbia's fault. Do you remember what life was like under Robert Sarver? A guy let Amari Stoudemire walk. He let Steve Nash walk twice, traded him the second time. And you want to blame Mat Ishbia for issues? Listen, does Ishbia have his shortcomings? Of course, like every owner does. But let's be fair about this. Mat Ishbia has been a revolution for this Phoenix Suns team. I cannot stand this idea that Mat Ishbia ruined the Phoenix Suns. Why does no one hold players accountable? I'm watching the Phoenix Suns every day, every single day. They have issues with effort. Rotations are bad. And there's people on social media, they're like, you should have put different players around Kevin Durant. You should have never traded for Bradley Beal. Well, let's revisit the Bradley Beal trade before we talk about Bradley Beal in totality in a second here. What did you give up for Bradley Beal? A couple of pick swaps that will never be used, ever. It's just cosmetics. And a bunch of second-round picks. Second-round picks are just currency in the NBA. Suns got 3 of them last draft. It's not tough to get second-round picks. You stole Bradley Beal. And that's what you said it was. And that's what I said it was. Were we wrong? Yeah, of course. But to act like it wasn't a great idea to go get Beal because you wanted Chris Paul, who's just about 40 at this point, who defensively was slow, didn't work out with this team anymore. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? You didn't want Kevin Durant? This idea that you were better off with Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson? Yes, revisionist history says you probably gave up too much for Kevin Durant. But what's Mikal Bridges doing? He's the 4th best player on the 3rd best team in the East. Cam Johnson's the best player on a tanking team in Brooklyn. Listen, I love Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges. But let's not act like they were going to carry this team to some sort of championship title. Do you forget what Luka Doncic did? Well, they went 64-16, whatever it was. I'd rather lose in the second round than deal with what I dealt with. No, you wouldn't. Stop lying. Losing in the second round and getting humiliated by Luka Doncic and losing in the regular season, you still didn't win a championship. You still didn't make a conference finals. Stop acting like you were so prideful. Because I saw the outrage on Twitter when the Suns lost Game 7. You were frustrated. You were annoyed. You wanted changes. And when Kevin Durant came into the picture, you were willing to give up the farm, the house, and everything along with it. Your firstborn. So it drives me crazy. Drives me just absolutely insane that this idea that Mat Ishbia has ruined the Suns. All Mat Ishbia has done is use every asset at his disposal to make this team better. Did he do it, wrong in some instances? Yeah, of course. It's pretty obvious. Revisionist history says Bradley Beal probably should have traded for him. But it was either Bradley Beal or the mid-level exception. It was either Bradley Beal or a guy like Dennis Schroeder at the time. What are we doing? That was the only way to get better. Now, in hindsight, is it too much redundancy in the offense? Absolutely. I can see people in the chat talking about, people forget how we got cooked with our roster. It was great when we went to the finals, but when we lost to Luka, it was frustrating. I can't believe we are in an instance where we're wishing to go back to a time where we were losing in Game 7 and questioning what happened the year prior. Can we just be honest? The players deserve way more blame for the Phoenix Suns' shortcomings, their failures, than the management. I will die on this hill. Call it bootlicking if you want. I don't care. that Mat Ishbia has been one of the lone bright spots with this team. Is he going to learn as an owner to get better, to allocate his money differently? Yeah, of course. It's his second year, third year being an owner. He's young. Do I agree with going after Jimmy Butler for talent alone? But listen, the Warriors aren't going after Jimmy Butler. The Mavericks aren't. You want to know why? Because every other team looking at the second apron is scared. Mat Ishbia has double-birded the second apron and said, we'll just blow past it. It's what we do. I don't care. There's no other owners right now in the NBA that are doing that. The Denver Nuggets won the championship 2 years ago. Once they got close to the second apron, they said, hey, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, you can go. One of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. One of the best 3-and-D guys in the NBA. And they were like, oh, sorry, we don't want to pay that much. They just won a championship with him. Imagine if they had KCP this year. Probably the front runners in the West. You know who they're going to miss in a potential conference finals against the Thunder? KCP. A guy that can help guard J-Dub or help guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So it's fake outrage. And I cannot stand fake outrage, inauthenticity. People that act like this team was better off with guys like McHale and Cam Johnson. That is laughable. That is so laughable. You also had to pay Cam Johnson at the end of the year. He got $100 million. You would have been allocating $200+ million to Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges. Now, I'm willing to say that, listen, they probably gave up too many picks. Yeah, probably. Ishbia's got to be better with that. But he's not going to let this team fall off a cliff and tank. Those pick swaps mean nothing. Nothing. They never get used. I'd much rather have a too aggressive owner than a too conservative owner. But it's fake outrage. You're just trying to have a reason to be upset. You're just trying to point the finger at someone. But you're too scared to say, Devin Booker has clearly regressed this year. He has had trouble fitting into Mike Budenholzer's system. Kevin Durant, at times, has been a little invisible and has not demanded the basketball. Like I understand Kevin Durant stands wish he just got the ball because he should every single time. And Bradley Beal doesn't fit. An effort across the board is horrendous. They got out-rebounded by the Charlotte Hornets the other day. If the Suns, everyone on that roster, just tried incredibly hard, they would have beat the Charlotte Hornets the other night. But because they have an effort issue and a culture issue and a leadership issue, yeah, Kevin Durant fans, I use the L word, leadership, this team has fallen off a cliff. Yeah, sure, fire James Jones. I don't care. If you're naive to the point that you think James Jones is running the show, okay, go for it. I don't ever. I'm not there, but you can. Get rid of him. I don't care. He's had a couple of pretty good drafts, Cam Johnson and Tumani Kamara and Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro. But sure, run him out of town. I couldn't care less. I am for holding players accountable, not management for spending too much money, for caring too much. So it's crazy to me. This revisionist history is starting to drive me a little insane for Phoenix Suns fans. All right, let's move on to this topic. Bradley Beal. There is a report now, and I couldn't find any sound for it, so I apologize for that. Normally, I like to play you guys the sound of what I'm actually referring to, but apparently Bradley Beal has, this is where I will go after Mat Ishbia a little bit, and of course James Jones and all of the Suns front office. Bradley Beal is basically saying, and we saw it the other day, he has no idea if a trade is coming or not. He has not been talked to, and he understands he holds all the cards for a potential Phoenix Suns trade. So if that's the truth, why haven't the Suns talked to him? And here's the biggest question. What if you don't get Jimmy Butler? Everyone, including myself, has just been acting as if Jimmy Butler is a shoo-in to be the next Phoenix Suns shooting guard, small forward, whatever, to be the next Phoenix Sun. And so have I. I largely still do believe that this team will 100% get Jimmy Butler, but let's have an exercise of, and I think most of that just stems from superstars usually get to pick where they go, and I think at some point the Heat are just going to have to swallow their pride. But maybe not. Maybe he stays in Miami. But what if Jimmy Butler stays in what is Miami and the Phoenix Suns don't get him? Can you mend the relationship of that being Bradley Beal and the Phoenix Suns? Because if we're just being fair, I do feel for Bradley Beal a little bit. I mean, truly I do. The guy has done nothing but come in, be a good soldier. He's gone to the bench. He's taken more threes. He's allowed his statistics to take a massive dip so that Kevin Durant and Devin Booker can be the 1 and 2. Like, I get being upset with Bradley Beal because I just talked about for 14 minutes that you have to hold players accountable because even he at times, effort has been an issue. But I can't lie when I say that he has largely done everything and more for this Phoenix Suns team to continue to be better. Like, I can't hide from that, and I won't. I'm not going to shy away from that. But Bradley Beal, if he is being treated like this against Suns management, this is malpractice. Whether you're Mat Ishbia, whether you're James Jones, if you haven't been an adult and not obviously confronted Bradley Beal, but sat him down in your office and said, hey, listen, we know you're not crazy. We know you see the reports, but you're being shopped. And if Beal truly has not been talked to about that, then that is malpractice. And it makes me worry that if this team doesn't get Jimmy Butler, that it truly is over with the Suns team. Because can you mend that relationship with Bradley Beal in the front office, who has done nothing but become a good soldier and done exactly what has been asked of him? Can you mend that relationship after failing to get Jimmy Butler? This is where the Heat, I believe, have a little bit of leverage. Whereas they know Bradley Beal's name has been shopped in trade conversations. Everyone knows it. If that's true, I find it crazy that Bradley Beal wouldn't be upset. And if you don't get Jimmy Butler, what is it that you're going to do about that? Are you going to mend that relationship? Are you going to lie and say he was never shopped? Because no one's going to believe that. I'm not going to believe that. And you could say, well, I don't care what Bradley Beal thinks. He's not going anywhere. He's still getting $50 million. If there's one league that has massive egos, and that being Bradley Beal as well, I would worry about what Beal would do after. You already have a culture problem. You already have a leadership problem. And I know there's people out there that think Bradley Beal sucks or he's washed. No, he's not. Like, come on. Put the pom-poms down for 5 seconds. Do you really think Bradley Beal's washed? Or is it more so he has taken a step back, he's allowed himself to be the third option, he's taking more threes, he's moved to the bench. He's not a bad player. Come on now. This is a guy that was averaging 30 points a game in Washington Wizards land before eventually going to the Phoenix Suns. So, save me that conversation. Spare me the idea that Bradley Beal's washed. I understand you're upset with the guy. But the Suns need to make this right. They need to sit down, apologize profusely, and say to Beal, hey, listen, we're sorry that, we didn't get to this faster, but you are being shopped. We don't really like the direction that this team is going, and you could potentially be on your way. If we traded you to Miami, if we traded you to Detroit, would that be something that you're interested in? We think that maybe you could be better. But the worst thing you can do, and it's not even close, is tell this team that, tell this player that, yeah, you're not being shopped. Lying has never been something you should do with star players. And whether you like it or not, Bradley Beal is still a star player on this Suns team. So it's something that absolutely needs to get figured out. Okay. Finally, and I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's a little bit of a shorter show today. There's a lot of moving parts. Some good news. Last night was up crazy late. I will be going to New Orleans for the Super Bowl week. Gonna meet up with some pretty cool people over there. Jason McIntyre as well. I don't know if you guys saw. I posted that last night before I go to all things Arizona Cardinals here. I was on Jason McIntyre's podcast. I posted about that last night. There's a link in there. You guys can go to my YouTube channel, check out those posts. I talked a lot of more of the Suns and the trade rumors with my guy Jason McIntyre from The Herd with Colin Coward. So that was a really good thing. And, I'll be able to meet up with some of those guys, do more connecting in what is going to be New Orleans. But I will be in New Orleans from the 3rd, coming home the 7th. I will be broadcasting from there as well. So just already apologizing for what the scuffed setup is going to look like in New Orleans, but it'll be a ton of fun. Potentially, maybe I get some good interviews. Let me know what you guys might want to see when I'm in New Orleans and doing stuff over there. I'll be at Radio Row again for the 3rd straight year at this point. So, pretty great stuff. Let's talk about Tyreek Hill. I got to applaud Cardinals fans. For the most part, it seems like they've been on my side here. And what I like to do on this show is I have hard-hitting opinions. I am not going to sit on a fence. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think. And then when that is the case, I'm going to stand on that hill. I'm willing to be wrong, but I'm going to have harsh opinions. Let's talk about this. Tyreek Hill is, actually, I want to start here. I don't do a lot of national stuff anymore because I just don't. I'm starting to localize my content, and I've noticed that is what has gotten me higher view count. People really like what I have to say because I'm a Cardinals, Suns, D-backs fan. But for the most part, I have harsh opinions. I'm a journalist first or a broadcaster first, everything else second. Why is Tyreek Hill not getting more blame for not entering the game against the with the Miami Dolphins against I think the Jets or whatever? Why Devondre Campbell was scrutinized, was ostracized, was seen as a walking plague or a guy that should never be touched with a 10,000-foot pole because he didn't want to go into the game. He quit on his team, and I'm not shying away from that. Devondre Campbell quit on his team. Tyreek Hill also quit on his team, and no one cares. This is the type of, again, fake outrage that drives me insane. You don't care that Devondre Campbell quit on his team, because if you did, you would have held Tyreek Hill also accountable. So why in the world, segueing into that, would I want that guy on my team? I don't want Devondre Campbell on my team. Guys play hurt. Guys play emotionally scarred. Guys play after extenuating circumstances. And you want that guy on your team? That's crazy. I think it is just complete and utter just nonsense. And just overall hypocritical of fans that have went after, fans and media members, that went after Devondre Campbell, and rightfully so. He quit on his team when guys play hurt, play injured, with extenuating circumstances, mentally fatigued. Guys put their body on the line. It is what is so great about the NFL. But we are painting this broad stroke about Devondre Campbell that he is a cancer, he's a plague, He isn't a true player to his team. He doesn't like his teammates. He quit on his team. Don't sign that guy. We're going to suspend him. We're going to take away his money. But Tyreek Hill does it, and everyone's like, oh, poor Tyreek Hill. Well, what are we going to do to trade and go get that player? Tyreek Hill is just as much as a quitter as Devondre Campbell. And I won't stand for this idea that we're not going to go after Devondre, or we're not going to go after Tyreek Hill because he's a superstar, but he quit on his team. Mike McDaniel said, no idea why this guy isn't in the game, but he quit on his team. And if there is even a 1% population that wants this guy on the Arizona Cardinals, you are also a hypocrite. So for the most part, I got to be honest, and I'm proud to say that this is pretty great. 75-80% of the Arizona Cardinals fan base, maybe even 65-70, I don't want to give you knuckleheads that much credit, but largely, they have all said, nah, we're good on Tyreek Hill. This offseason is not about accumulating stars. That means don't go get T. Higgins and pay crazy amounts of money. I mean, that makes way more sense than Tyreek Hill. Don't get Tyreek Hill. He's 5'10". The first thing that is going to regress is your speed. And he's on a massive contract. He makes 0 cents for the Arizona Cardinals. If there's anyone advocating for him to be a part of this team with your not so plentiful draft picks, is crazy. Crazy. It's actually kind of funny that Ivan in the chat says, that's terrible, Ivan, that Hill also, beats up. Listen, I'm not going to dive into Tyreek Hill's personal life, but probably not it's actually a good point to say, probably not a great character on the field or off the field. That takes me to this point. This Cardinals team is about building culture. It's why I'll revisit yesterday where I said Kyzir White, LJ Collier, and Roy Lopez are all guys defensively I think you need to resign. And it's not because I think Kyzir White is some massive superstar. I don't think that. But he's a culture guy. One of the coaches named their son after Kyzir White. Good locker room guy. Has the ability to be a solid linebacker. So yeah, I would fork over a little bit of money, maybe even overpay just a little bit to keep Kyzir White here. It goes against everything the Cardinals preach. Culture, leadership, stand-up guys. One of the coaches once again named their son after Kyzir White. So, and then Roy Lopez was a revolution for this team on the defensive line. Came over from the Texans, batting down balls, helping stop the run, and LJ Collier showed some promise. A former first-round pick that looks like he might have found a home. And Michael in the chat as well talking about he would still like an elite pass rusher. So would I. But kind of going back to this Tyreek Hill aspect is, Tyreek Hill doesn't fit this team culturally. He's a headache every single offseason that there's another story. And just like Devondre Campbell, which for some reason people are steering away from, he's a quitter on his team. And the first thing that is going to go if you are one Tyreek Hill, if you are one superstar athlete, and you can make a really good argument, it started this year. At 32 years old next year, 31 in March, the first thing that is going to go is your speed. Stop falling in love with big-name players. This offseason is about building in the trenches, is about elevating the floor of this team, while strategically picking one or two players. I'm talking about a Josh Sweat. I'm talking about a Hassan Reddick. I'm talking about players of that aspect that can help your team's pass rush without breaking the bank, as well as allocating a draft pick or two to this defensive line. That is what this offseason is about. It's not about big fish, big star hunting. It is about strategically finding the pieces that fit this culture, that fit what this team wants to do, and Josh Sweat, and fits clearly the game plan of the Cardinals. Josh Sweat had double-digit sacks with Jonathan Gannon. Hassan Reddick, double-digit sacks with Jonathan Gannon when they were both on the Eagles. Those are the type of guys I'm looking towards for this Arizona Cardinals team. You know, there was another guy as well that I had written down in my notes over here who exactly I would really like the Arizona Cardinals to go after, and as I'm frantically looking for it at this point, there was the guard for the Chiefs, Trey Smith. There are 3 guys that fit what the Arizona Cardinals need to do that were not on the team last year and fit the game plan of Jonathan Gannon that would fit exactly and help elevate the floor of this team. Josh Sweat, a veteran pass rusher, Hassan Reddick, and Trey Smith, the guard for the Kansas City Chiefs. You got to elevate and bolster the interior of your line for Kyler Murray. He can run around the edges and get around guys in the tackle spots. That's not as important. But this offseason is not about allocating tens of millions of dollars to the offensive side of the ball, especially at wide receiver, in one Tyreek Hill, who's a headache every year, quit on his team, and looks to be like a locker room cancer. Actively, listen, it's just nonsense. Posting yourself as Antonio Brown, quitting on your team, wearing that as a badge of honor, that's loser stuff. You do not want that guy here. Also, if I could be able to look at this for just a brief second, career lows. 81 receiving yards, 959 touchdowns, didn't even get 1,000 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns. If he had Tyreek Hill in fantasy this year, guess what? For a guy that played 17 games, you were pretty disappointed. Don't fall in love with the big fish. T. Higgins sounds like fun, doesn't really fit what the Cardinals want to do. But a guard like Trey Smith, 2 pass rushers, that being Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick, who both had double-digit sacks with the Philadelphia Eagles under Jonathan Gannon, that makes sense. That elevates the floor of this team. That elevates what this Arizona Cardinals team wants to do. That's what makes sense for this team, not big fish hunting. So it's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me that it was ever even a possibility that Tyreek Hill could potentially be a part of the Arizona Cardinals plans when in reality, it just doesn't make sense. And this offseason is about making sense. It's make or break for Monty Ossenfort. If they don't make the playoffs next year, Jonathan Gannon will get fired. If they don't make the playoffs this year, Monty Ossenfort could get fired. Kyler Murray could be out the door. You think they're going to go big game hunting? No. They've got money for a reason because they haven't spent it. Be strategic about it. Re-sign Trey McBride like we talked about yesterday. Go get a guy or bring Kaiser White back. Bring LJ Collier back. Bring Roy Lopez back. Go get Josh Sweat. Go get Hassan Reddick. Go get Trey Smith. That's what the Arizona Cardinals have to do. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys allowing me to be a part of your morning. Just a reminder for everyone in the chat, the 9 of you right now that are in the chat, I think at one point we had like 15 people in here. Remember, starting next Monday, I'm going to start going live at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, 6 a.m. local time. It's going to be a straight-up morning show. I'm going to get ready with you guys. We're going to talk some sports while you're brushing your teeth, getting ready to go to whatever it is you're going to go to, work, a job, see a friend. And then as well, I will be at New Orleans from February 3rd to the 7th. I'll be doing some stuff at Radio Row. I'll be doing some stuff with my guy, Jason McIntyre, and just other great people in that mix. Please let me know, and doing some good networking, let me know what you might want to see. I will try to do that for you. And again, apologies already for what the scuff setup is going to look like. I'll still be streaming every day in New Orleans. The grind doesn't stop. This is not a vacation. It's a business trip. I'll be streaming there. I'll still be doing Locked On Suns from there. But either way, guys, Don't forget to follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend about the Ben Garcia Show if you so well please. And until tomorrow, the final day of the week that we will be streaming, we are Monday through Friday. We appreciate you guys making us a part of your day. Mighty Elf, who knows? Maybe I will record a vlog of my experience. Maybe. It's a potential, right? But Mighty Elf, Michael, Ivan, I appreciate you guys being in the chat. This is not an easy thing to do as a one-man band, but I appreciate you guys making me a part of your day. Don't forget to follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. Reach out to me on social media. Love to say hi to you guys. Thank you for continuously supporting the show. The numbers just keep going up, and because of you guys, I continue to do this. You guys make it worth getting out of bed early in the morning and making this happen. But either way, guys, I'm Benjamin Garcia, and until next time, it's been the Ben Garcia Show.